This is something I kind of want to look at because it looks funny. So interesting I noticed with the new update to Untapped, imperm seems to just strictly be a bad card this format. On average, even if it resolves, you're losing far more than half of the time when you play it, showing comparison numbers to the other main staples here. So if imperm resolves, you have a 48% win rate. And if Max C resolves, you have a 56% win rate. If Ash resolve, 54% win rate, and Call by 56% win rate. Now, this is what we like to call lying with statistics, where people will look at data and they'll personally just kind of use it to justify whatever means that they want. You know what I mean? Some people in the Duelist Cup cut imperm. I know there was a Chimera list that did. The problem with imperm, if you don't run other non-engine, it sucks. And also most people cut it to play Judgment. You objectively are correct. And it's kind of like one way people can kind of shift statistics to give themselves kind of like this quote-unquote better story that kind of suits their own narrative. Like, let's say that we're in a format where imperm, like, it's just okay, and a lot of people are playing it. Like, let's say we go to a locals. You and me go to a locals. I decide to play Labyrinth. You decide to play Labyrinth, and I decide to play Labyrinth. Let's say that the only difference between our versions, I decide to play one copy of Labyrinth setup. Now, let's say that at this locals, regionals, whatever, you go like 2-2, 2-2 drop or whatever, and I go completely undefeated. I go like 4-0, I go 8-0 at the regional, I win the YCS, whatever. Now, and let's say that there was like 10 other Labyrinth players at this event that did not play setup. Now, does that mean that like my decision to play like Labyrinth setup directly contributed to my winning or losing? You could say yes, you could say no, you could say maybe so. But what I can quote unquote say is that, yeah, of course I did good at the regional. I played the same sample size as you guys did, and we're all the same skill level, but my list was better, so haha, I win. That's not always necessarily true, because again, setup's really good versus like decks that play Shifter. What if I only played against like Tenpai and Malice, and like the other people who didn't, who played against Tenpai and Malice, just had rougher games overall? Like, you could look at imperm and be like, okay, well sure, maybe imperm is having a lower win rate. What is causing this lower win rate? Like, let's look at the decks that play imperm versus like what imperm offers compared to like these other cards. Like Call by the Grave is specifically so that you can like fucking turbo wombo combo. Ash Blossom is a card that is like the most generically powerful card that also happens to be a called by for Maxi. Maxi is Maxi. Like, are we going to look at the win rates and say that Called by the Grave is a better card than Maxi? So if we're looking for cards to cut and we want to fit both Called by and Maxi, and we should cut Maxi to fit Called by, the answer is no. You cannot look at just raw data. You cannot just look at raw data and immediately draw a comparison. Another good example of this is TFT. TFT used to offer statistics, but they got rid of it because Mortdog got really mad. Mortdog basically threw like a fucking hissy fit that people like would kind of be torn between like one or two augments and be like, I'm just gonna take the one that has the objectively higher win rate. Like, if people were choosing between like Call to Chaos or Black Rose Crown, and Call to Chaos had like a 0.5 higher percent like placement rate, people were just gonna pick it over Black Rose. And Mortdog got really mad and he was like, I want people to experiment with my shitty game. I want people to play the game how I want it. And then he made like a trillion billion changes to the current set that made it so much worse, but that's just me. Mortdog, please bring back the ability to force anomalies. That's just me. I actually need to see the play rate of Judgment after the Duelist Cup. So many people were on 3 Judgment for Tenpai. Yeah, like, obviously, if the format's only Tenpai, then of course, like, hand traps that don't affect Tenpai are going to have like a much lower win rate compared to like ones that do, at least for like a period of time. That's not to say that it's a bad card. You can't just immediately write off a card as being bad because, you know, it just has like a bad matchup currently into one good card, into like one good deck. Like, these cards are still good. You can say like it's just bad into Tenpai and good into everything else. That's why like when you're comparing like data, you have to kind of like look at it from all angles. Like it's kind of like D barrier, you know? Like D barrier might have like a 60% win rate or like 80% win rate at like a YCS, but if you look at the data like more closely and you realize that the only time D barrier is going in is versus Tenpai, and whenever it resolves versus Tenpai, like of course the player who activated D barrier is gonna win. You kind of have to be like, is D barrier just objectively a good good card is either just the greatest card of all time and I should be main decking it, or is there more to play at here other than, you know, just raw win rate percentages? But speaking of, again, we got to talk about win rate percentages. The same thing can be applied for like TFT. Let's say like for whatever reason you are playing like Dominator, Cassiopeia, like level 7, like level 7, level 8, Dominator, Cassiopeia, Silco, like Black Rose, whatever. Dominator's not that good of a comp. It's good, but it's not like crazy good. Let's say that you're offered Dark Alley Dealings, Prismatic Ticket, and Dominator Crown. Now, Dark Alley Dealings, it's really fucking good. Mainly because Suspicious Trenchcoat allows you to play Pit Fighter Violet at best in slot. It is one of the most toxic combinations in the entire set. The same can be said for like Prismatic Ticket, where Prismatic Ticket allows you to guarantee that you hit 3-star Violet or 3-star Lux or 3-star whatever. You're basically guaranteed to hit whatever you want. Now, Dominator, again, is much weaker overall, because Dominator is like a tier 0 or tier 1 comp. It's like a tier 2 comp that just happens to be pretty good. Now, again, for your specific comp and your specific matchups within your lobby, are you going to just blindly take Dark Alley Dealings or Prismatic Ticket just because you saw that Dark Alley Dealings has like a 3 or 4% higher win rate compared to Dominator Crown? No, you're going to look at what your team is trying to accomplish and you're going to take the augment that best helps you out. And in this case, it's Prismatic Ticket because you need to hit that 3-star cast. I'm kidding. It's Dominator Crown. But you guys get the idea, where you cannot just be like, card bad, do not play it. Like, you cannot look at a card with like 48% win rate and just automatically assume that it's gonna be bad. When you look at a lot of cards, like most of these cards, if they resolve negated, or like most of these augments, of the best augments in the set right now, are like objectively pretty bad. If you want to pretend like raw win rate is the only thing to look at. Pandora's items notoriously has a placement rate of 4.6, which is about like a 44% win rate for people who pick Pandora's items. Now, is this to say that Pandora's items is like a bad augment? No, absolutely not. Pandora's items is arguably one of the most broken augments in the game because it allows you to force specific comps and builds and always hit like best in slots. In fact, in set 9.5 of TFT, every single person and their moms for like a period of time just picked like Twisted Fate because it guaranteed you to get Pandora's items as an augment on your first augment selection, which allowed you to basically force things like triple rapid fire cannon Nyla, or you could just force like Jewel Gauntlet, blue buff Shojin, Misfortune, you know, just like dumb shit like that. We're always able to like guarantee things. But again, like why is the win rate so low then if it's so good? It's because the sample size is so big, and also let's not pretend that everybody is using this item optimally, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody is imperming at the optimal time. Not everybody is using Pandora's items on an optimal comp, or like not everyone who gets Pandora's items is a good TFT player and knows how to play Bilgewater. Like cards like Maxi have absurd win rates because Maxi is a card that basically just says win the game if it resolves. Ash Blossom is a great card because it's basically a card that says blank the most powerful thing your opponent could be doing or negate Maxi. Call by the Grave is basically the same sort of whatever it's called. You should probably compare the win rate of resolving imperm when going second to the win rate of going second in general. So I would assume that resolving it still improves your odds. Would you mind posting the stats for other hand traps? I don't have the ability to show it, but like you can kind of see where you can kind of paint an incomplete picture of statistics and use it to show one side of a story or another side of a story that may or may not be completely perfect. You know what I mean? But that's just like my quick 2 little cents about the whole scenario. Let me know if you guys think Imperm is a bad card. Let me know if you guys think Renata Glask is a bad comp. By the way, if you guys want actually the best TFT comp to just no life with, play this comp. It's so broken. This is like objectively the best comp in the game. If you want to just turn your brain off and play a comp, just play this comp. It's so easy. It's so broken. It's so broken. Gotta say it like that. All right, thank you guys for being here, and that's gonna be it for that video.